Good day and welcome to the Rock Tutors, Learning Made Easy, where we treat questions pertaining to Jamb, WAEC, NECO, SSE, and the likes. My name is Dr. Alabi Samuel, and journey with me as we solve some chemistry questions together. Are you ready? Let's go. Question 1. Two metallic ions associated with hard water are dash. The answer is calcium and magnesium. Calcium and magnesium are the two metallic ions that are associated with hard water. Next. When ethene gas reacts with chlorine gas to form 1,2-dichloroethane, the reaction is called, this is an example of an addition reaction. When ethene gas reacts with chlorine gas to form 1,2-dichloroethane, it is an addition reaction. So the answer is option B. Next. Which of the following silver halides is readily soluble in ammonium hydroxide? The one that is readily soluble out of all this is silver chloride. Silver chloride, option B. Next. The chemical reaction which takes place at the anode in electrolysis is oxidation. The reaction that takes place at the anode is oxidation. That's option A. Next. The oxidation number of manganese in KMnO4 is dash. So, to look for the oxidation number of manganese in KMnO4, oxidation number of potassium is +1. Manganese that we are looking for, represent it as X, plus 4 into brackets. Oxidation number of oxygen is -2, equals to 0. So that gives us 1 plus X minus 8 equals to 0. So X will be 8 minus 1. X will be +7. So the oxidation number of manganese is what? +7. So the answer is +7, D. An organic compound decolorizes bromine water is, the answer is unsaturated. So unsaturated hydrocarbons are said to decolorize bromine water. In the reaction, carbon plus nitric acid to give CO2 plus NO3 plus H2O. Nitric acid is acting as, now if you look at this reaction very well, you will notice that carbon does not have, on the reactant side, carbon does not have oxygen, but on the product side, you can see oxygen added to carbon, that's CO2. It means that oxygen has been transferred from nitric acid to carbon. So nitric acid is acting as an oxidizing agent because it is transferring oxygen to carbon. And we can see that nitric acid is reduced from HNO3 to NO3. So nitric acid is acting as an oxidizing agent. So that's option D. Question number 8. The brown coloration in nitric acid prepared in the laboratory can be removed by, you can remove it by bubbling air through the acid. So the answer is option B. Number 9. When sodium hydroxide pellets are dissolved in water, the delta H, which is the change in enthalpy, is dash. Now, this is an example of an exothermic reaction. An exothermic reaction is a reaction in which heat is given off to the environment. And in exothermic reaction, delta H is always negative. So the answer is option B. Number 10. Which of the following types of reaction takes place between ethane and the halogen? C2H4 is ethane. Looking at CnH2n. So that is ethane plus halogen. The kind of reaction that occurs is an addition reaction. So the answer is D, addition reaction. Which of the following will liberate hydrogen from tetraoxosulfate 6 acid? The option that will liberate hydrogen from this is lead, option D. And that's because it is higher in the electronegativity series. If iron is present in this option, iron would also be an option. But here we have lead, so lead is the answer. Number 12. If an equilibrium reaction has delta H greater than 0, the reaction will favor the reverse reaction at dash. Now, when delta H is greater than 0, it means that the reaction is an endothermic reaction because it is positive. And it will favor the reaction when the temperature is lowered. So when the temperature is lowered, it will favor the reverse reaction. But if it is an exothermic reaction, as you increase the temperature, more products are being formed. And that one will favor the forward reaction. So note the difference between that. So here, the reaction that will be favored, the reverse reaction will be favored by lowering the temperature. So the correct answer is option A. Number 13. Which of the following equilibria is unaffected by a change in pressure? Now this kind of question is very easy to solve. All you just have to do is compare the number of molecules on the reactant side to the number of molecules on the product side. And anyone that is equal, there will be no change in the equilibrium. So let's look at option A. Here we can see N2O4. So we have one molecule, but on the product side we have two. So we know that there will be what? A change in the equilibrium. In option B, we have 1 plus 1. To give 1 plus 1. That's 1:2. So there will be a change. In option C, we have 2 on the reactant side, while on the product side, we have 1 and 1. So that's 2:2. So they have equal number of molecules. So there will be no equilibrium change. While in option D, we have 2 compared to 3. So the answer is option C. Question number 14. What is the pH of a 2.5 times 10 raised to the power minus 4 mole per dm cube solution of potassium hydroxide? Okay, so to solve this, the pH is 2.5 times 10 raised to the power minus 4 mole per dm cube of potassium hydroxide. So we'll take the log reading of this. So by the time we do this, we'll get 3.6. But then remember that pH plus POH equals to 14. So the POH will be 14 minus 3.6. That will give us 10.4. So the answer is option C, 10.4. Question number 15. All have effects on the position of chemical equilibrium except, now, a temperature would have an effect on the chemical equilibrium. Pressure would have an effect on the chemical equilibrium. The concentration, that is, if you increase the concentration of the reactants, more products will be formed. And if you increase the concentration of the products, they will react together to form the reactants. Why catalyst does not affect the position of chemical equilibrium? What the catalyst does is to speed up the rate of chemical equilibrium, but it doesn't affect the position. So the answer is D, catalyst. Number 16. Calculate the solubility in mole per dm cube of 40 grams of CuSO4 dissolved in 100 grams of water at 120 degrees Celsius. So here we are given we are asked to calculate the solubility in mole per dm cube. We are given the mass of CuSO4 as 40 grams. So we will look for the molar mass of CuSO4. That will be 64 plus 32 plus 4 times 16. Okay, that's 64 plus 32 plus 64. Adding it all together, that will be 64 plus 64, that's 128. 128 plus 32, 160 grams per mole. Okay, then we'll now look for the number of mole. Number of mole is mass all over molar mass. So that will give us 40 divided by 160. This is 1 over 4. This is 0.25 mole. Okay. So, but this 0.25 mole was dissolved in 100 grams of water. Now, the number of mole that will be dissolved in 1,000 grams of water. That is what we are looking for, because that's what will give us the mole per dm cube. So we cross multiply. So we have x times 100 equals to 0.25 times 1,000. So we divide both sides by 100. Divide both sides by 100. So that will give us 2.5 mole per dm cube. So the answer is 2.5 mole per dm cube. That is option D. Question number 17. An element A has electronic configuration of 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, and 3p3. The combination of A with an halogen X can give compounds of the formula dash. So here we have 2, 8, 5. That means that this element A has what? 5 electrons in its outermost shell. Now, to achieve an octet configuration, it will have to give what? Out 5 electrons or accept what? 3 electrons to become 2, 8, 8. And X is an halogen. So that means that the formula, the compound will form will be what? AX5 or AX3. So the answer is A. AX3 and AX5 are the compounds that will be formed. Question number 18. What is the oxidation number of nitrogen in HNO2? HNO2. Oxidation number of hydrogen is +1. You are looking for nitrogen, which is X, plus oxygen is -2, equals to 0. So that is 1 plus X minus 4 equals to 0. So X is 4 minus 1. That is what? 3. So the answer is +3. The oxidation number of nitrogen in HNO2 is +3. Option A. Next question. For the reaction 2Fe3 plus 2Cl minus to give 2Fe2 plus Cl2. So now let's look at this reaction very carefully. Now, oxidation and reduction. In context to this reaction, oxidation is an increase in the oxidation number, while reduction is a decrease in the oxidation number. So we are going to compare the product side and the reactant side together. In the product side, we can see that we have ion 3 reduced to ion 2. And we can see that chlorine is oxidized. That is, it is increased from -1 towards to 0, Cl2. So option A says ion 2 plus is reduced to ion 3 plus. That is wrong. Okay? If it is to be reduced, it means ion 3 should be reduced to ion 2, not the other way around. Option B says chlorine is reduced, Cl minus is reduced to Cl2. That is also wrong. It is oxidized. Option C says Cl minus is oxidized to Cl2. That is correct because oxidation is an increase in the oxidation number. And here we can see that the oxidation number is increased from -1 to 0. And D says Fe3 plus is oxidized to Fe2 plus. That is wrong. So the answer is option C. Number 20. The volume of 0.20 mole per dm cube H2SO4 tetraoxosulfate 6 acid that will exactly neutralize 25 cm cube of 0.05 mole per dm cube sodium hydroxide solution is dash. Now to solve this, we would have to first of all write the equation of the reaction. So what is the equation of the reaction? We have H2SO4 plus sodium hydroxide. This type of reaction is known as a neutralization reaction because the acid is reacting with the base to form salt and water. So we have NaSO4 plus H2O. So let's balance the reaction. So this will be 1, this will be 2. So we have Na2SO4 plus H2O. So is the equation balanced? We have 2 here. All right, so the equation is balanced. So we have 1:2. We give 1:2. Now using the formula, concentration of acid times volume of acid over concentration of base times volume of base, number of mole of acid over number of mole of base. Okay, so concentration of acid from the question is 0.20 times the volume is what we are looking for, volume of the acid. The concentration of the base given in the question is 25, is 0.05 mole per dm cube, while the volume is 25. And the number of mole of the acid is 1/2. So when we multiply, we have the volume of the acid will be equal to 0.05 times 25 divided by 0.20. So the answer would give us 3.1 cm cube. So that's option A. Next question. The element used as an electrode in car batteries is lead. Lead is used as an electrode in car batteries. So that's option D. 22. What is the role of finely divided iron in Haber's process? The role of finely divided iron in Haber's process is iron is acting as a catalyst. So the answer is as a catalyzing agent. So that is option D. Next question. A gas occupies 75 dm cube at STP. What volume would it occupy at 27 degrees Celsius and 950 millimeter of mercury? Okay, so here we use the gas laws. So here the volume is 75 dm cube. The temperature, standard temperature is 273 Kelvin, while the standard pressure is 760 meter of mercury. So at T2, which is 27 plus 273, that is 300 Kelvin. And P2 is 950 meter of mercury. So we are looking for V2. So using P1, V1 over T1 equals to P2 V2 over T2. So you are looking for V2. So that's our P1 is 760 times 75 divided by our temperature, initial temperature is 273 equals to our P2 is, from the question, 950 times V2 divided by our T2 is 300. So when we calculate everything together, 760 times 75 times 300 divided by 273 times 950. So the answer should give us 65.9, option C. Next question. Number 24. A gas occupies a volume of 200 cm cube at 18 degrees Celsius and 0.9 atm. Its volume at STP is dash. So, occupies a volume of 200 cm cube, temperature 18 plus 273, that will be 291 Kelvin, and P1 at 0.9 atm. The volume at STP, T2 273 Kelvin, and P2 1 atm will be, using P1 V1 over T1 equals to P2 V2 over T2. The volume would be 0.9 times 200 times 1 divided by 1 times 291. So if you solve this, the answer would be 169 cm cube. That is option A, 169 cm cube. Question number 25. Which of the following are radioactive isotopes used? Option A, scientific research. B, dating techniques. C, treatment of cancer. And D, all of the above. So radioactive isotopes are used in scientific researches. They are used in dating techniques. They are also used in the treatment of cancer. So the answer is D, all of the above. 26. A physical property that decreases across the periodic table is the atomic radius. The atomic radius decreases across the periodic table. So that's option C. The ore from which aluminium is extracted is bauxite. Bauxite is the ore from which aluminium is extracted. Cassiterite is the ore from which tin is extracted. So in this question, the answer is bauxite, option D. 28. Which of the following substances is not deliquescent? Deliquescent substances are substances that absorb moisture from the surroundings and then they turn into a liquid solution. While hygroscopic substances, they absorb moisture from the surrounding, but they don't turn into a liquid solution. They just become moist. So, here, sodium hydroxide pellets is deliquescent. Anhydrous calcium chloride is deliquescent. Anhydrous FeCl3 is deliquescent. The only substance that is not deliquescent here is hydrated Na2CO3. That's option D. Number 29. The reaction between an alkanol and alkanoic acid in the presence of an acid catalyst is known as dash. Now, anytime we have a reaction between an alkanol and an alkanoic acid, that is an esterification reaction. So, esterification reaction, the formation of esters, is the reaction between an alkanol and an alkanoic acid. So, that's option C. Number 30. Which of the following processes converts starch to ethanol? The process of converting starch to ethanol is known as fermentation. So that process is what? Fermentation. That is option D. 31. Which of the following bonds exists in crystalline ammonium chloride? NH4Cl. So NH4Cl has ionic bonds, it has covalent bonds, and it has coordinate bonds. So these three bonds exist in crystalline ammonium chloride. So that's option C is the correct answer. Number 32. Which of the following molecules is bent in shape? Which of the following molecules is bent in shape? CH4 is tetrahedral in shape. And this is the shape C. So 4, tetrahedral in shape. H2O, water, is bent in shape or V-shaped. So V-shaped or bent in shape. And it has an angle of approximately 105.5 degrees. Ammonia, NH3, is trigonal pyramidal, while CO2 is linear in shape. So the answer, that is the molecule that is bent in shape, is water, H2O. That's option B. In the production of soap, concentrated sodium chloride solution is added to dash. A, increase the solubility of the soap. B, decrease the solubility of the soap. C, saponify the soap. And D, emulsify the soap. The answer to this question is to decrease the solubility of the soap. That is why we had concentrated sodium chloride solution to the production of soap. 34. Which of the following metals bonds with brick red? The answer is calcium. Calcium bonds with brick red. That is option B. 35. A suitable reagent for distinguishing between ethanoic acid and ethanol is dash. The answer here is sodium hydrogen triazocarbonate 4. That is the reagent to distinguish between ethanoic acid and ethanol. Number 36. Which of these requires crystallization most? A, drug making. B, cement making. C, paint making. D, perfume. Now, all of these require crystallization, but the one that requires it most is drug making, because crystallization is about producing a pure substance. Okay, and we need drug to be produced in its purest form. So the answer is drug making, A. 37. A radioactive element of mass X gram has a half-life of 2 years. What mass will be remaining after 8 years? Now, to solve this, so the T half is 2 years. Mass is S gram. Okay. Then what mass will be remaining after 8 years? So to get that, that will be 8 divided by 2, that is 4, which is the n. So that will be 2 raised to the power n. That's raised to the power 4. That's 16. So the mass that will be remaining will be 1 over 16 gram of X. So that's X over 16 gram. So that is option D. Number 38. The lines observed in hydrogen spectroscope are due to the emission of energy by electron transition. That is the lines observed in hydrogen spectroscope. So that answer is option D. Option D is the right answer. Emission of energy by electron transition. Question 39. If the volume of a gas increases steadily as the temperature decreases at constant pressure, the gas obeys dash. So let's look at this critically. Increase in volume, temperature, and pressure is what? Constant. Now, in Boyle's law, the pressure is inversely proportional to the volume. So since there is no temperature here, Boyle's law makes it wrong. In Charles' law, the temperature is directly proportional to the volume. That means that temperature equals to kV. That means that increase in temperature should cause an increase in volume. But here they said the volume increases and temperature decreases. So it's not Charles' law. Okay? Doubting law of partial pressure is also not there. So the answer is none of the above. D. Number 40. Which of the following gases has the greatest ionization energy? Now, out of all these gases, the one that has the greatest ionization energy is the noble gas helium. That is option A.